Hey guys, so today I decided to start a book club. So today we're going to be discussing The Secret Chapter 1. So feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments about what you got from The Secret Chapter 1. So the first thing I wanted to really highlight is that it goes into the law of attraction. Let me find it. There was like a couple of pages where I was like, dang, like this is some real stuff. For example, it says on page 7, so I'll give you some time to get to page 7. You are the most powerful magnet in the universe. You contain a magnetic power within you that is more powerful than anything in this world. And this unfathomable magnetic power is emitted through your thoughts. Okay? So it's really talking about like a real high level understanding of what the law of attraction actually is. And thinking about like how we are a magnet, it means that whatever we are internalizing and whatever we are at the bone of our being, so to speak, we are actually putting out into the universe. And like outside of like, a lot of us think and have grown up and have been conditioned to believe that what happens to us is a direct result of what we experience on a daily basis, which is true. And though what I'm discovering is that what we experience is also a reflection of who we are within ourselves. And a lot of us have come from toxic environments. We've come from not like, don't take what I'm saying as my personal experience, okay? However, but a lot of people have experienced different abuses in their life. And so when you have that in your subconscious level, like that's what you're omitting. And as they say, like from 0 to 7, you're being like at the optimal level of your programming in some ways. So whatever you experience from 0 to 7 is somewhere still in you. So we have to do the work to get out of that. But what I discovered and what we're learning is that if anyone else can do it, so can we. So I think it's just important to realize that we do have the power to change what we want and to get what we want out of life. And like on page 13, it says, so from page 12 going to page 13, the last paragraph on page 12, an epidemic worse than any plague that mankind has ever seen has been raging for centuries. It is the don't want epidemic. People keep this epidemic alive when they predominantly think, speak, act, and focus on what they don't want. But this is the generation that will change history because we are receiving the knowledge that can free us from this epidemic. It begins with you. And you can become a pioneer of this new thought movement by simply thinking and speaking about what you want. And I also wanted to mention that what can also happen, like once you learn about the law of attraction and that like what you think is what you receive, the first thing is like, oh my gosh, well, what if I think about negative thoughts? But apparently one positive thought is the equivalent to 100 negative thoughts. So I think that it's about slowly but surely, one step at a time, evolving past those negative thoughts, which means being mindful of what you listen to. Because what in this book does a very great job of iterating that. It's like what you watch on TV, you're now thinking about. It's programming you. What you listen to in the music, you're now thinking about. It's programming you. What you entertain is programming you. Even apparently listening to someone complain and sympathizing with their complaints brings reasons to complain in your life. Like, what the F, man? I thought that was like showing support, but those days are over for me, boo-boo. Those days are over. I think this is a great book, like a starter level. Okay, because here's exactly what I was talking about. On page 16, whether we realize it or not, we are thinking most of the time. If you are speaking or listening to someone, you are thinking. If you are reading the newspaper or watching television, you are thinking. When you recall memories from your past, you are thinking. When you are considering something in your future, you are thinking. When you are driving, you are thinking. When getting ready in the AM, you are thinking. For many of us, the only time we are not thinking is when we're asleep. When we are not thinking when you're sleeping, you're dreaming. So there's that. However, the forces of attraction are still operating on our last thoughts as we fall asleep. Make your last thoughts before going to sleep good thoughts. One thought leader that I really like to listen to before I go to sleep, and I am doing it more, is Reverend Ike. He has these visualizations on YouTube. I would highly recommend that you guys go check that out. You can listen to anything, but there's something about the way Rev Ike speaks and just really lays it down on you that I really enjoy that. And what you're thinking now is creating your future. You create your life with your thoughts because you are always thinking. You are always creating. What you think about most or focus on most is what will appear in your life. Like all laws of nature, there is utter perfection in this law. You create your life. Whatever you sow, you reap. Your thoughts are seeds, and the harvest you reap will depend on the plant you plant, on the seeds you plant. Listen to this part. Listen to the song within. All right, okay, let's get back to where. If you are complaining, the law of attraction will powerfully bring into your life more situations for you to complain about. That is so true. And this is the part that I was talking about earlier that really just sunk and hit me. If you are listening to someone else complain and focusing on that, sympathizing with them, agreeing with them, so basically supporting them in their complaints, in that moment, you are attracting more situations to yourself to complain about. I mean, who knew? But these are things that are so simple in essence, but so simple that if you blink, you're gonna miss it. So don't blink or you'll miss it, kind of thing. And these are things if you're not taught this, you might not realize it. And that's why sometimes when we see people that are habitual line steppers, or I've since cut contact from all of my habitual line steppers in my life. However, you start to think well, how haven't they learned their lesson? But it's I'm realizing that I need to be more focused on me, not how haven't they learned their lesson. What lessons do I still need to learn so that I can purge whatever negative thoughts were in my mind that were helping me to create things that I don't want to create? That's what I need to be focused on, and I think that this book does a really great job, especially like I said, this first chapter. We're just getting into the book. Also, when you get the book, you'll notice that different speakers will have different things. Bob Proctor, for example, always has a key next to his name. And then this guy, some of these people I don't know. I don't know who Michael Bernard Beckwith is, but he has some kind of, it's a flower. All of the speakers, they have these little emoticons next to them. So I do wonder what made them choose those specific emojis or pictures. I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know who these people are, but I'm going to look them up. But Dr. Fred Allen, for example, what is this? Is that a brain? It's like a brain omitting. You see there's arrows going out and arrows going in, and then there's something right here. Maybe that's the pineal gland. And there's information going out because we are the most powerful transmission and receiver. So perhaps that's what it is, or maybe it's an atom or a proton. I don't know. But you see, like I was saying, Bob Proctor has a key. And you can see, whoops, up close and super personal. I'm using my iPad, and I need to get a new stand for it. But you use what you can until you can have some more, you feel me? And so on page 23, that's where we are now. The actual paragraph under Dr. Joe Vitale. One way to master your mind is to learn to quiet the mind. So we get into the importance of meditation early on in the book, which I thought was really cool too. Because a lot of times, with different practices, like meditation will come later on, or they'll like tell you to meditate, but like, and like I've been hearing more that I need to be in silence. So I'm working on establishing like a routine that's sustainable for me, but also realizing that if it's sustainable for me, maybe it's because I'm not pushing myself hard enough. So like I'm also working on establishing real discipline in my life and really establishing consistency and knowing that like I'm gonna do it, that's it, period. And if it's up to me, it's gonna be. And like just really getting into that space. So I believe that meditating and sitting in the silence will help me achieve that. And so you might be like, okay, well, how do you meditate? I believe that there's so many ways you can meditate. You can meditate from doing art. You can meditate from painting. You can meditate from writing, from singing, from listening to music, from walking. But you can also just sit down for like 3 to 10 minutes. And here as well, they even say that 3 to 10 minutes or 5 minutes, however long, even like 30 seconds, and just sit in the silence and just breathe deeply. And you can do that. You can meditate on a thought process. Like I'm the master of my mind, which I do believe they're going to say in this paragraph or maybe the next or somewhere. But you can meditate on that concept. And to me, meditating on that concept means just like listening, reciting that over and over again and contemplating what life would be like if you were to be able to do that. What would your life be like if you could control your mind? Now that you know that your reality is created from the thoughts and your mind and your brain power, what would your life be like if you were in control of your thoughts? If you were able to manifest whatever you wanted immediately without the pollution of doubt? What would you create? With some powerful sugar in the iced tea, man. Okay, without exception. And so that means literally everybody, and they spoke to, I think she said like 55 people. Read the forward and you'll see. But I think they spoke to like 55 thought leaders. Without exception, every teacher in this book uses meditation as a daily practice. It wasn't until I discovered the secret that I realized how powerful meditation can be. So she didn't say is, she says can be. So that leads me to assume that meditation, just like anything else, is a learning process. And the longer you do it, the more powerful it will be and the more powerful it becomes and the better you get at it. So I believe that that's why she said can be instead of is. Comment below and let me know what you thought or like what your top takeaways were. All right. Meditation quiets your mind, helps you control your thoughts, and revitalizes your body. The great news is that you don't have to set aside hours to meditate. And that is great news, because before I really started going, like I said, I've been on this evolutionary journey for years. And though I still, up until recently, honestly, thought that if I wasn't meditating for at least 30 minutes or an hour, that it didn't matter. Like I wasn't doing anything unless it was like an hour or 30 minutes. And it's challenging on every single day to get in an hour of meditation or even 30 minutes. So to hear that I don't need to set hours aside to meditate is incredibly freeing for me. Right? And it just shows perspective is everything and knowledge is power. But knowledge, just like coal is a diamond, coal is not a diamond though. Knowledge is not power. Knowledge is power, just as coal is a diamond, but coal is not a diamond and knowledge is not power. Meaning that to know and not to do is not to know. So even though you know something doesn't mean that you are capable of doing it. Having knowledge and knowing what to do with it and being able to apply it practically is power, and it is the beginning of power. Just like coal is the beginning of a diamond. Knowledge is the beginning of power. So yes, knowledge is power, but knowledge is not power. You can know what ABCs are, but you might not have the power to spell properly. You might know as a child, as a toddler, know that if you say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, that you'll get a clap, but you may not realize what that even is. So knowledge is power, but knowledge is not power. Knowledge is the beginning of power. And once you accumulate more knowledge and you learn what to do with that knowledge, then you start to accumulate the power that comes with it. So that to me is something really, really impactful as well. Okay, and then here we go. This is on page 23, just 3 to 10 minutes a day to begin with can be incredibly powerful for gaining control over your thoughts. To become aware, and I italics, of your thoughts, you can set the intention, I am the master of my thoughts. Say it often, meditate on it, and as you hold that intention, by the law of attraction, you must become that. And the secret is the law of attraction. So to me, it seems like this book is going to give us a rundown of what the law of attraction actually is. And then once we know what it actually is, then perhaps we as a collective, as our virtual book club, perhaps we can then implement that into our lives and actually see real change. Because it's one thing to be motivated, but motivation is nothing. We have to be disciplined, because motivation gets you to do it once, gets you to do it twice, but the discipline gets you to do it for a lifetime, gets you to do it for 2-3 weeks, gets you to do it for months and months at a time. So we need that discipline. So through this book club as well, I hope to establish discipline within myself, discipline within my heart space, so that I can continue to finish this book. And like even the books that I've already read, doing the book club and going dissecting chapter by chapter by chapter, so that we can all learn from each other. And I'm not going to read all the summaries because I don't want to give the book away, but I will read 3 of the summaries that my eyes glance to immediately. So the first one I see is your thoughts become things. And I think that's very important, because it's back to like the knowledge is power thing. Like you hear people say often that thoughts are things. Thoughts are things, yes, but thoughts become things with continuation. And I also learned from my previous weekend is that who you run into matters. Like who you vibe, like your vibration brings people into your life. Like before, I just thought it was like coincidence, like, oh, I just happened to run into X, Y, and Z person. Like, no, apparently that's because I'm vibrating at a certain level. And I'm like, wow, like all of these things matter. And I'm really, really learning that the little things matter the most. Those little teeny, like random, and I'm learning to be better with my words, but for right now I'm saying random, but someone recently told me to say serendipitous. So those baby serendipitous experiences apparently are large experiences on the spiritual plane. So learning how to really accept and be rejuvenated and thankful for all of those small occurrences is something that I'm evolving to. The next thing that I want to highlight from the summaries on page 25 is you are like a human transmission tower, transmitting a frequency with your thoughts. If you want to change anything in your life, change the frequency by changing your thoughts. I'm going to read that 2 more times. You are like a human transmission tower, transmitting a frequency with your thoughts. If you want to change anything in your life, change the frequency by changing your thoughts. One more again for the people in the back. You are like a human transmission tower, transmitting a frequency with your thoughts. If you want to create anything in your life, change the frequency by changing your thoughts. All right, so how do we change our thoughts? We change what we listen to. No more gossip about Hollywood, because I have a tendency, like I'm a rabbit holer. So, once I get into something, I'm like deep into it. So I had to go on my YouTube, and I have to do this periodically, but like now I'm realizing I just have to continue to do it, and I have to maintain that discipline to not get off of it. And unrecommend this channel. Do not recommend this channel to me. Do not recommend this channel to me. Do not recommend this channel to me. I don't want to see this channel. I don't want this. It just goes on and on and on and you feel me? So like, do not recommend this thing to me anymore. I don't want this in my experience anymore. I can't listen to this music anymore. I can't listen to this complaining anymore. I can't complain. I have to be, and like, even if you're there physically, not being there mentally and learning how to separate myself from my body in the waking life. And I have become pretty good at that, where I'll be somewhere and people will think that I'm there with them, but really I'm like, I don't even know where I am sometimes, but I'm not there physically. Oh, well, I am there physically, but I'm not there. Hopefully that made sense. And then the last one I want to mention, because I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to give the whole book away, because I want you to read it and then we can actually have discussions. And at some point, you know, once I can get to like 3,000 watch times, and like, you know what, I'm gonna put it like this: once I get to 1,000 subscribers, I'm gonna start going live on here. So if you guys like are feeling froggy leap and you want to help me go live so that we can actually have like discussions and like, you know, I can answer questions, we can like really chat it up and like really have like some real book clubs, then please help me get to 1,000 subscribers, okay? For real, okay? And like press that like button, do all the things. All right, so yeah, so the great secret of life is the law of attraction. All right, okay, fine, I'm gonna read the next one too, just because it resonates and I just feel like I need to. I still haven't read all of them, so this is, like I said, this is on page 25. The law of attraction says like attracts like, so when you think a thought, you are attracting like thoughts to you. And it's good, I think, to know what is considered a thought, you know, because I did not realize, honestly, that listening to someone else complain and resonating with them and affirming their experience was bringing that into my life. And I'm very much like, once I know something and I fully it clicks, then I apply it. And what I'm also learning is that the more you become evolved, the more you start to realize things, the more you are able to gather from even small things. Like, the more I learn, the deeper things mean and the harder things hit. Even in the universe, I'll be honest, like, when you evolve more, like when you know better, you do better, I get like instant response. Like if I think something negative, I'll hit my hand on something, or I'll snag my hair when I never usually snag my hair, or I'll stub my toe, or I'll trip. Like most recently, and I have a big old scar on my knee to prove it, I had to wear a Band-Aid. It's still on my knee. I was thinking like, haha, I'll do this. And then I tripped and fell and scrapped my knee. I'm serious, man. So yeah, let me know, comment below, let me know what you got from this, and please help me get to 1,000 subscribers so that we can actually do live book clubs, because I really want to take this channel to the next level. And I feel so blessed. Like I got 300 freaking subscribers. Like let's really talk about it. Like this is a new channel too. I'm so thankful, I'm so blessed, and I just hope that we can continue this journey. Also, please consider joining my book club. That just means subscribing and like turn that notification bell on, ding, so you can like know when I post new things. And then we can really like get this thing popping, because I'm also doing this so that I can learn, because you learn by teaching. And I've also learned that I love to teach. I love to speak. I love public speaking. I love to help people. So like, I hope that through this endeavor to spread this message wide and far, and so that we can create a community where we can really dive deep. So like I said, my first goal for this YouTube channel is to get to 1,000 subscribers. But with that being said, I don't just want like any subscribers, you know. I want people that want to do better, that want to grow together, that want to have community, that want to have conversations. So if you know someone like that, please share that video with them. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.